General, the whole idea, one measure of leadership or the government is for its ability to provide security, because that's why we surrender our sovereignty to the Federal Republic of Nigeria as citizens, because the government is supposed to guarantee that security. Yes, we do have our responsibilities and roles, but of course the greater responsibility of providing security lies with the government, because it does control armament and things like that. So I want to get your take on some of the ideas that people have been putting forward regarding what needs to be done. This past week, we've heard from the governor of Katsina, who said, listen, citizens should stop solely relying on the government to protect them, because the government doesn't have the ability or the capacity to do that, which begs the question, and then what is the point of having the government? Plus, you talk about, some of these criminals in our society. There are those criminals who, to be fair, are not so obvious. And then there are the ones who are obvious, but the citizens are not equipped to do anything about it. How can you effect a citizen's arrest, when a bandit is armed with an AK-47 or AK-49? How do you do that? I mean, even the police sometimes are overpowered in terms of armament when they face some of these bandits. So realistically speaking, give me a sense of what we can do to correct the gaps or to address the gaps within the system, because you clearly are not in support of creating any sort of structure outside of what we have right now. You think we can fix the system and then address it. With regards to the kinetic approach right now, we have the Nigerian army in deployment across the 36 states of the Federation, which they are not equipped to do, by the way, if we're going to be honest. That's the job of the police, but the police is incapable of doing it because we have come to understand that they've been overwhelmed. What do we do to fix the current system, in your view, that can give us value for not just money, but value for the essence of what government is supposed to represent?
Well, I quite appreciate the frustrations of the governor of Katsina State, but let me tell you, the funny thing is that if you can build capacity and capabilities, if you just give up and say, look, we don't have the capacity to do certain things, it means we have given up. But we must build the capacity and capabilities to deal with what is here and even go ahead of them. One, that's two. What you are saying is sometimes it's born of the rhetorics that people still talk. Even if you have the police fully, even at the local level, what you are dealing with requires intelligence. And this intelligence, the information to be analyzed and processed into intelligence come from the citizens. They will never have enough intelligence personnel to deploy in every nook and cranny of this country. It is not rocket science. Even in those countries that you talk about, I will give you examples that they do. It is citizens that call 911 at every time. If you go to Britain, you see those old women and men sitting down on their balconies, taking sunlight in the afternoon, morning, afternoon, and evening. They are providing security for this environment. They know everybody on that street. They see, if they see anything that is suspicious, they call 911 before you even know. You will see policemen come and apprehend somebody who is roaming around the street and the rest, and they pick them. If you go to the shopping mall, you see them all over. Those old people, they move around sometimes the whole day. They just pick, they don't buy anything. They come and sit down and buy the coffee or tea and drink and the rest. If you go to the USA, it's the same thing you call neighborhood watch. I had an experience. I didn't even know. We were sleeping with my family in the US, and that there were some black guys who were picketing our house. What our neighbor did, that was around 11, 12 in the night. Our neighbor called the police straight off and said, there is an international officer in so-so and so, 1106 North 11th, that he has seen some people suspiciously milling around his house. He didn't alert me. It wasn't the police that knew. Once he called the police, every 5 minutes a police vehicle was patrolling around my house. It was in the morning that he now tell us this story. So he didn't want to disturb us and to make us fear. Now, going further is that we must, even if you decentralize the police, one, have you thought about the costs? Have you thought about how you're going to equip them? Are you going to equip them like the armed forces? Because you said even these terrorists, they come, they are more equipped than these people. Some states have not been paying salaries. Go and give a human being arms and ammunition and don't pay him salary, and he will not sit down in that studio to talk to me today, because he will turn the weapons against you. Some primary schools today, in some schools, have not been paid. Some are on strike. The responsibility of keeping people whom you give arms is such enormous that you must not tinker with it anyhow. But coming to the bandits, these bandits, some of them live within us. Some of them enjoy facilities within us. It is for us to engage a holistic, what we are doing is we are trying to look at a sectoral approach. We will never solve it. We have to look at a holistic approach to all these things. Now, I gave you the examples about USA and UK now. Now come to Nigeria. If not, in some areas within the same, in Kaduna there, if you go to Rigasa area and the rest, how are those buildings built? If not for the old city of Kaduna, that's the GRA area that is well planned, the Max Lux plan that planned it. You have streets, you have numbers and the rest, even though it has been distorted here and there. But do you have streets? Do you have numbers on those streets? Do you know who live in each street? These are the national security infrastructure that you must put in place. All our cities are being built like slums, and slums are veritable areas for criminals to live in. People convert residential areas into hotels, hotels that are not even registered, hotels that these hoodlums sit down there, from there, they plan their operation and go and kidnap people. And even when they kidnap, they move them to houses within the city there and sit down. One of the persons who was kidnapped in Kaduna there, a friend of mine, was taken into a house within Kaduna, and even Channels TV was on. And when Channels TV announced it as breaking news that this person has been kidnapped, the kidnapper said, Oga, you're a big man, so your value is going to be high. So we have left a whole loose system that is a very ripe and veritable environment for criminals to operate in.
Right. All right.
We have left town planning to this thing. So there are no. In fact, if you call policemen now and say, okay, there's an attack going on in your house, you have to spend minutes trying to describe your place to them in the night. For goodness sake, is that how you want to provide security for your people? Is that the work of policemen, or that the work of the state governor?
All right.